Hi, everyone. It's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your proof daily NFT countdown. Lots to talk about today. Going to talk about Patrick Amadon's new project, Doppelgänger. Ripcache has some cool art, a cool drop going on. Lots going on with Ripcache, and then a couple big sales to talk about. Also, we'll dive into a little bit with the airdrop farming situation. Pudgy Penguins just moved on to Blend. Let's get right into it. Starting off with a quick market overview. Volumes up a small bit versus yesterday, pretty much flat. Buyers have been trending down over the past week, a little bit higher than they were a couple weeks ago, but trending down from week ago levels. In terms of prices, the large cap index largely flat, some strength in punks, some weakness in a few projects. Pudgy's down about 1%, but I want to dive a little bit into that. Here is a chart for Pudgy's, but I think it's kind of interesting. If you look at this chart of where the trades were happening, kind of on a more granular basis, you can see in the beginning, we had this rally that was on the back of the toys announcement. And then what you see there, see that pink arrow right there? That is pointing to when it was announced that Pudgies were going on to Blend. And we got this big pump from 5.6 to 6.2 ETH. But everybody's been following my show knows that Blend is not a reason to pump a project. It generally does not lead to sustained pumps. And we saw the price go back down almost immediately, right back to 5.6 ETH. Now, since then, today, we've had a lot of airdrop farmers dump, and the price is down to 5.25. So pretty interesting kind of behavior that we've seen in Pudgy Penguins over the past couple of days and really just the past 12 hours. One thing I also wanted to look at, and this is something I always pay attention to, is how many new NFTs get dumped into Blur bids over a week. So NFTs that hadn't been dumped before, or at least hadn't been dumped in a month, that get added to what I call the vortex of NFTs that are bouncing around between airdrop farmers. What you can see here is that 91 new Pudgy Penguins over the past week have been added, have been dumped, people who had been holders selling into bids. The one that really worries me here, though, and I think the one that really sticks out is Milady. Over 400 new fresh Miladies have been dumped into bids. You know, Miladies have had such a run on the back of the Elon news, on the back of being added to Blend, on just kind of being a hot project. And I think we're really starting to see a little bit of that unwinding. If you look here at the chart, you can see that it really is kind of moving in the down direction. So we'll see how that plays out. Hopefully get a little bit of a rebound there. Mid-cap index was up a small bit yet again. Serious strength in Crypto Citizens Official. That went from 0.3 to 0.5 ETH. But then also I want to focus on Renga and MFers. You know, both Renga and MFers have pretty serious followings. They're widely used PFPs. They both moved down to 1x bidding points on Blur, so don't have quite as much farmers. And we've seen both of them really bounce quite nicely off the 0.5 ETH level. Renga, you know, from about 0.5 up to about 0.6. And we've seen it also with MFers, where the floor has bounced up to about 0.8 ETH. MFers also announced that they're putting the art fully on chain. So I think that's someone in the community who did it, but nice piece of news to see that. In terms of art projects, let's talk about art projects. 5 projects did 10 ETH of volume or more, certainly more than we used to have in the past couple of weeks. Not nearly as much as yesterday, but still had some nice sales. Let's look at them. A Fidenza here sold for 64 WETH. A Chromie Squiggle, this was the only Chromie Squiggle, and this one sold for 10.3 WETH. We have an Anti-Cyclone for 7 WETH, and then a Gazers sold for 17. I mean, Gazers really feel, you know, Gazers were selling for 10 to 12 just a couple weeks ago. Now seeing that floor up to 16 and seeing some nice sales there. You know, I think one thing I mentioned yesterday is that the bid-ask spread on Fidenzas was like 48 at 85. So interesting to see that the sale here is kind of coming down a little bit in the middle, and we'll see how this plays out over the next couple days. Second thing to talk about, Patrick Amadon launches Doppelgänger. You know, what is this art? Here was his initial tweet, Doppelgänger 2023, one to many. The basic idea is he has created a contract that artists can own where the NFT can point to multiple pieces of art, and it's an array, and artists can continually add art to it. They can't take away, but they can add to it. And the owner of the NFT can decide which one the metadata is pointing to. Just digging in here again, artist owned contract can own multiple or can include multiple images in one NFT. Users get to pick what to point to, and it's all from one token. Now, in addition to this, Patrick Amadon, and they're doing this with Transient Labs, who does a lot of the innovative stuff in this space, he also is launching his own piece on this standard. There are 8 different NFT images or videos that will all be pointed to in the one NFT. It is a public sale. I believe it's an open edition. The price is 1 ETH, and we've already seen 42 minted. That's going to go on for another 2 days. So really, your chance to get a hold of this technology and really the original project that does it. In terms of why is this interesting technology? Why are people going to want to do it? One thing they said, what he suggested a bunch in the white paper. One was just an artist collection of work, like a gallery where you only own one token. That could be kind of interesting. Second is artist subscriptions, where they tack on new work to the NFT over time, storytelling through multi-work NFTs. And then they also talk about broken link risk mitigation, where if, an NFT has a link to something, and that becomes a broken link, or for whatever reason, the artist could tack on that work into the array, and have the NFT point to it. So interesting innovation. I'm very curious to see if people take this on, how it plays out over time, but always excited to see people pushing the boundaries, and then also, running that link or that mint by, starting it off on his own with his own artwork. So curious to see how that plays out. Third thing to talk about is this Ripcache piece called Public Private. Really kind of cool, interesting thing from Ripcache. He said after a year of planning, he is presenting his latest work called Public Private. It's fully on-chain digital artwork, which combines with a physical print, which is 2 feet by 2 feet. Seems straightforward, but there's a catch. We'll talk about it. So here's the physical print. He took a picture, and then here's the NFT. Obviously, it is identical work. And when you buy that physical, you also get the NFT. So identical imagery. The digital is fully on chain, but to buy the digital, you first have to buy the physical. And there's a section on the physical that you scratch off. And when you scratch that off, you get the private key. And then you can go and sell that NFT separately. So it's when you do that scratch that they go from really kind of being bound together, because the only way you can get the NFT is if you do that scratch. So you have them both. After that, you end up having kind of separate, you have the NFT separate from the physical. So that's pretty cool. Again, just more innovation, more interesting stuff from Ripcache. Here's an example. This is when you scratch it off. This is the single one. You can go and you can see this online, or you can see it on OpenSea, but that's an example of getting that private key via the scratch. So interesting stuff from Ripcache. Also wanted to talk about a piece called Under Construction with Ripcache, which Ripcache recently minted 32 of these, and he minted them at 0.85 ETH. So raised a nice amount of money there, and it minted out within under 24 hours, and now it is selling at 2.6 to 2.7 ETH. So congratulations to everyone who minted it out. Congratulations to Ripcache on giving this launch, having it sell out, but then also having investors make money too, collectors make money too. Always love to see that when you get these win-win situations. So, Ripcache is just, I think, one of the leading artists right now who 6 months ago, 8 months ago, Ripcache was selling for under 1 ETH. Now his one of ones are selling in the 15 to 30 ETH range. And then he puts this out, which does incredibly well. So awesome to see that. Lastly, let's talk about a few notable sales. First, let's go at Jack Butcher's auction. We've talked about it a bunch of times, but the pieces ended up going in final for somewhere between 13 and 20 ETH. Kind of interesting. You had a bit of a bidding war in the first day. Normally you get those bidding wars in the last 3 hours where the price really escalates. But here it kind of all got done in that first day. Prices were in that 11 to 15 range, a few days ago, but still ended in a nice range. So congratulations to Jack on this kind of momentous auction at Christie's. Other sales to talk about: Bored Ape Yacht Club, 4 different apes. I figured I'd talk about all of them because, I don't know, I thought there are a couple of interesting sales here. First, this King's Crown sold for 98 ETH. Pretty clean King's Crown with those hypnotized eyes. A little bit above the last King's Crown sale we talked about, which was below 90. This gold grill ape for 55 ETH feels very low for where gold grills historically have traded, but that's just the market we are in. Similarly, that one in the lower left was a 4-trade NFT. So the 4-trade apes are the ones that really command premium, sold for 50 ETH, I think pretty low for a 4T. And then that one in the lower right, it's kind of a nice looking floor, but a 3D glasses sushi chef sold for an ETH or 2 above floor price. Merge by Pack. This piece sold for 15 ETH. This is a project that happened in December of 2021, broke records for the amount of money it raised. Here's a headline: raised $91.8 million. It was sold as an open edition. Buyers could purchase any number of tokens starting with $575. And as you bought more and more, the prices increased by $25 every 6 hours. As you bought more and more, you got a different NFT that had more mass together in it. Anytime you buy more NFTs, you can only own one at any moment, but when you buy multiple, it merges into a bigger NFT. So, the base ones are just small dots, but if you look at kind of how they've evolved, these are the top sales. That one in the upper left, obviously higher mass, 50 ETH, 40 ETH in the upper right, all the way down to 17 ETH in the lower right. I'm not sure how the color is determined. So if you are someone who understands Merge, who knows Murat Pak, tell me, put it in the comments. Curious to learn more, because this is a project I'm not super familiar with. Back in 2021, I was just looking at Punks and Apes, but still very cool to see that. And then lastly, let's talk about one artist who I haven't talked about. Rachel Pease sold this for 3 ETH. Really just kind of cool blend of of light, color, and this tree, which she says is in California. A couple of her other sales, I believe 3 ETH is the highest that I have seen. This one sold on Manifold, and these are some of her super rare sales in the 1.5 to 2 ETH range. A little bit about her: she is an internationally exhibited landscape artist and envoy of nature. Her work documents real trees and locations. Her current body focuses on ancient bristlecone pines of a forest in California, and her ink drawings weave reality with strings of fantasy and past memories. She was born in Indiana, has lived in a bunch of coasts, currently lives in the UK. Cool art though. Love to see that, and congrats to her on this 3 ETH sale, which I believe is an all-time high, but correct me if I'm wrong about that. That is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did like it, give us a like. That always helps. Subscribe to the channel and give us a comment. Tell us what you think. We always appreciate that. Try to respond as often as we can. We'll be back tomorrow and every single weekday with another show. Have a great day.